There is a specific, suffocating weight that settles in the chest when every human door slams shut and you are left staring into the abyss of the impossible. This is the moment where the world's calculation hits zero, and you realize that against all odds, your only remaining bridge is a single silent cry to the Creator. You didn't arrive at this reflection by chance. You are here because your soul is ready to trade its exhaustion for divine strength. Let us speak of that final second, where the Ya Allah from a broken heart rewrites the laws of reality. Imagine yourself standing on the sheer edge of a cliff, not a metaphorical cliff, but a real, dizzying drop into an abyss of uncertainty. Perhaps it is the crushing weight of debt that threatens to swallow your family whole. Perhaps it is the sudden, devastating diagnosis that steals the future you had so carefully planned. Perhaps it is the implosion of a relationship that was the very foundation of your existence, leaving you adrift and utterly alone in a vast, cold ocean. You have fought, haven't you? Oh, how you have fought. You have consulted the experts. You have prayed the lengthy prayers. You have taken every sensible, logical step. You have exhausted the asbab, the means and causes that Allah has placed in this physical domain. You have turned every stone, searched every corner, depleted every reserve of emotional and physical energy. And yet, the darkness only deepens. The walls of the trial only grow higher, thicker, more impenetrable. You look around, seeking a single friendly face, a single helping hand, a single ray of hope, and you find nothing but the indifferent stare of the universe. The silence in that moment is deafening, because it is the silence of the expected answer that never came, the silence of the phone call that didn't ring, the silence of the medical report that offered no reprieve. This feeling, my dear ones, this intense, visceral exhaustion, is what we must validate before we can move forward. Do not rush past the pain. Do not dismiss the profound, agonizing ache of feeling utterly forsaken. I know the taste of ashes in the mouth when the carefully tended fire of hope finally dies out. I recognize the tremor in the soul when the mind whispers the cruelest of lies. You are alone. You have always been alone. And now, you have failed. This is not the failure of effort. This is the failure of the system of human reliance, the system of cause and effect, the system that promises that if you work hard enough, you will succeed. But sometimes, the divine wisdom dictates that the human system must collapse completely, utterly, irrevocably, so that the soul may be ready for the only system that never fails. The odds, from the perspective of the world, have reached absolute zero. The countdown clock shows 0.01 seconds remaining. You are facing the inevitable consequence, the inescapable disaster. The door is shut, bolted, and the keys have been thrown into the deepest part of the sea. And it is precisely in that microscopic gap of time, when the throat is dry and the heart is pounding a frantic, final rhythm against the ribs, when the knees buckle under the sheer weight of futility, that the ego, the arrogant self that constantly insists on its own strength and capability, finally breaks. The intellect, which loves to calculate risks and rewards, raises its hands in surrender. The human spirit, battered and bruised, finally admits its fundamental weakness, its inherent poverty, its absolute need. It is the moment of purest, most unadulterated desperation. You are staring into the face of destruction, and there is no person, no resource, no amount of earthly power left to save you. You have reached the boundary of your own existence, the point where you realize that you are merely a collection of dust and breath, utterly dependent. This is the ultimate spiritual vacuum, the point of total emptiness, the necessary prerequisite for the greatest spiritual influx. You have fought the good fight, you have endured the long night, and now, with nothing left in the tank, with the final crushing wave about to descend and swallow you whole, you are stripped bare. You are naked before the decree. You are truly, finally, helpless. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the weight of that helplessness not as a burden, but as the moment your heart finally lets go of the world to hold on to the one who created it. If this message is touching your soul, consider joining our journey of faith by subscribing. This helplessness is not a weakness. It is the ultimate strength. It is the key to the next moment, the moment that defies all logic, the moment that rewrites the laws of physics and probability. Because when the human calculation hits zero, the divine calculation begins. When all the doors of the creation are slammed shut in your face, the one door, the door that never closes, is finally seen for what it is, the only sanctuary. The moment of absolute, terrifying, final surrender, where the only sound left is the silent, internal scream of recognition. There is no power and no strength save with Allah. This realization, this absolute, rock-bottom acknowledgement of poverty, is what prepares the lips for the word that changes everything in the last second. It is the precursor to the primal cry, the ultimate declaration of dependence, the single most powerful utterance a soul can make when facing the impossible. Ya Allah. This is where the story truly begins. This is where the impossible becomes the inevitable. And so, when the calculation of the world falls to zero, when the last grain of human possibility has slipped through the hourglass, when the final, agonizing realization dawns that nothing in creation can help, that is the moment of purest spiritual poverty. That absolute vacuum is precisely what Allah, the Exalted, desires from His servant. It is not that He was unaware of your suffering before. Far be it from Him. It is not that His mercy was temporarily withheld. His mercy encompasses all things. But the wisdom, the profound, unsearchable wisdom of the divine decree, Qadr, is that the heart must be completely emptied of all false idols of reliance, the idol of self, the idol of connection, the idol of wealth, the idol of science, so that when the salvation comes, it is recognized undeniably, unequivocally, as coming only from Him. This utter desperation is the spiritual purification required before the greatest influx of divine light can descend. If the rescue had arrived when you still had 1% of energy left, you might have attributed that success to your own resilience. If the door had opened when you still had one phone number left to call, you might have credited the connection. But when you are standing at the precipice, stripped of all means, shivering in the cold reality of your own utter dependence, and you manage to push out that single, raw, primal confession, Ya Allah, that utterance is not merely a request. It is a profound declaration of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, the oneness of His Lordship. It is the soul's ultimate testimony. I confess that You alone are the sustainer, the provider, the helper, the one who can alter the laws of the universe for my sake. Look closely at the stories of the prophets, peace be upon them, for they are the masters of this last-second reliance. Consider the story of our master Yunus, Jonah, upon him be peace, the ultimate example of the rescue against all odds. His trial was designed to strip him of every single conceivable means of escape. He committed a human error, leaving his people in haste and anger. He boarded a ship, but the ship itself turned against him, tossed by a furious, indifferent sea. The sailors, following a custom of the time, cast lots, and the lot fell upon him. He was thrown, willingly, into the raging, icy darkness of the ocean. This, in itself, was a death sentence. But the decree had not finished its lesson. He was immediately swallowed by a massive deep-sea creature, a whale or a gargantuan fish, a creature designed to crush and digest. Imagine, my dear ones, the sensory reality of that moment. Yunus was not merely in darkness. He was in 3 layers of absolute, suffocating darkness. The darkness of the deepest part of the ocean, where no light penetrates. The darkness of the belly of the massive fish, enclosed and sealed. And the darkness of the night itself. He was trapped within a living grave, subject to the churning depths, the immense pressure of the water, the terrifying biological reality of the beast that held him captive. The air was thin, the space confined, the hope non-existent. There was no raft, no shore, no human helper, no scientific instrument, no prayer rug, no source of sustenance, no way to even orient himself to the surface. He was, by all measures of creation, dead, digested, gone forever. The odds were not against him. The odds had ceased to exist. He was in the negative realm of possibility. And yet, in that ultimate, terrifying confinement, when the human heart should have surrendered to panic, the prophetic heart turned inward and upward. When the intellect screamed futility, the soul whispered the confession of truth. He did not cry out for a ship or a shore or a knife to cut his way out. He cried out the perfect prayer of desperation, the dua of Yunus, which the Quran immortalizes for all of us who face the impossible. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka, inna kuntu minaz zalimin. Let us pause and perform a deep tafsir, exegesis, on this perfect utterance, for it contains the secret of the last-second rescue. It is not just a plea, it is a spiritual masterpiece. The first part, La ilaha illa anta, there is no deity except you, is the declaration of absolute tawheed. It means, I recognize that everything else I might have relied upon, the ship, the land, my own strength, has failed. I recognize that you alone possess the power to sustain existence, to command the waves, and to control the creatures of the deep. I place my entire, naked dependence upon your oneness. The second part, Subhanaka, exalted are you, is the declaration of Tanzi, the purification of Allah from any fault or deficiency. It means, you are far above any mistake or injustice. Whatever decree has befallen me, it is perfect, just, and wise. I do not question your action, O Lord. And the third, most crucial part, In kuntu minaz zaliman, indeed I have been of the wrongdoers, is the declaration of absolute poverty and confession of sin. It is the admission. The fault is mine. I am the one who erred. I am the one who rushed. I am the one who is weak. I do not blame the circumstances, nor the whale, nor the sea. I take full responsibility for my own state. I come before you, your poor, sinful servant, utterly helpless. It is this complete surrender, this fusion of absolute reliance, acceptance of divine will, and confession of personal failing, that unlocked the command of kun. When the servant fully admits his nothingness, the master manifests his allness. And what was the result? Did the whale slowly swim to shore? Did a rescue boat miraculously appear? No. The response was immediate, defying the laws of marine biology, defying the laws of physics, defying the laws of probability. Allah, the commander of all things, commanded the fish. He issued a decree to the massive creature that held the prophet captive. The whale, which was supposed to digest him, instantly became a vessel of salvation. The belly of the whale became a spiritual sanctuary. The darkness was pierced, not by light, but by the certainty of the divine presence. The Quran states clearly, Fa istajabna lahu, so we responded to him. The response was instant. In that last, dying second, the entire universe shifted its gears. The fish was commanded to vomit him out onto the shore, weak and exposed, yes, but alive, saved, and purified. This is the meaning of the last-second rescue, my beloved students. It is the moment when the system of cause and effect is momentarily suspended by the sheer, unadulterated power of ikhlas, sincerity, expressed through absolute desperation. When you say Ya Allah from that place of ultimate poverty, you are not asking for a favor. You are activating the core covenant between the Creator and the creation. You are reminding the universe that there is a master, and he is listening to the cry of his servant. And thus, just as he saved Yunus from the tripartite darkness, he will save the believers from their impossible trials. The verse concludes with a universal promise, not just a historical footnote. Wa kadhalika nunjil mu'minin, and thus do we save the believers. This is a timeless, eternal guarantee. Your impossible situation is merely the stage upon which the truth of this promise will be demonstrated, provided you reach that point of utter, final, unreserved surrender, where only the word Ya Allah remains. The question that now burns in the heart of every listener, every soul currently confined within its own unique darkness, be it the darkness of crippling debt, the darkness of seemingly incurable illness, the darkness of profound loneliness, or the darkness of spiritual confusion, is this: how do I replicate that moment? How do I achieve that perfect, final, unreserved surrender that compels the universe to shift for my sake? How do I access the power of that last-second Ya Allah, which guarantees the promise, Wa kadhalika nunjil mu'minin, and thus do we save the believers? My beloved students, the answer lies not only in the utterance of the words during the crisis, but in the cultivation of the state of Yunus, peace be upon him, before the crisis even arrives. The spiritual power of that dua is not a magic spell. It is the culmination of a life lived in recognition of Tawheed. When the Prophet Yunus cried out, La ilaha illa anta, it was not a sudden theological realization sparked by fear. It was the confirmation of the very essence of his being, the absolute truth upon which his entire prophetic mission was founded. For us, the action required is twofold: the preparation and the execution. The preparation, the discipline of the believer, is the constant, relentless practice of istighfar, seeking forgiveness, and tawbah, repentance. We must empty the vessel of the heart of the accumulated sludge of self-reliance, of pride, of the subtle, insidious belief that we are the architects of our own success or the masters of our own destiny. Every time we catch ourselves relying on our bank account, or our professional title, or the stability of a relationship, we must instantly perform the internal tawbah and remind the soul, La ilaha illa anta. The true darkness is not the belly of the whale. The true darkness is the darkness of the heart that forgets its creator when the sun is shining, the darkness of the soul that assumes permanence in temporary provisions. We must confess our failings daily, not waiting for the great catastrophe to force the admission, Inna kuntu minaz zalimin. The one who regularly admits his sins in the privacy of his prayer mat, the one who cultivates humility in his ease, will find that humility becoming his spiritual armor in his hardship. This proactive confession is the spiritual equivalent of packing the life raft before the ship sinks. The execution, the moment of the impossible trial, demands total abandonment of human strategy. When you are truly pressed against the wall, when the options are exhausted, when the medical report is grim, when the financial well has run dry, when the relationships have fractured beyond repair, that is the precise moment to abandon the frantic, often futile human efforts and shift to the divine mechanism. Stop looking left and right for a solution from creation. Close your eyes and internalize the three components of the dua of Yunus. Say, La ilaha illa anta, with the absolute certainty that the solution lies nowhere else. Say Subhanaka, with the recognition that even if this trial destroys you physically, the decree is perfect and just. And say In kuntu minaz zalimin, with a heart shattered by remorse and dependency. The benefit of this action, this ultimate spiritual surrender, is immediate and revolutionary, regardless of the external outcome. The external rescue is the promise of Allah, Wa kadhalika nunjil mu'minin, and it will come in the form He deems best. Perhaps a complete reversal of fortune, perhaps an unexpected door opening, perhaps the removal of the affliction itself. But the greater, more profound benefit is the internal rescue, the salvation of the nafs, the self, from the crushing weight of despair. Despair is the darkness that truly kills the soul. Despair is the whisper of shaitan that tells you that Allah has forgotten you, that your situation is unique in its hopelessness, that the divine promise does not apply to this particular overwhelming problem. But when you declare La ilaha illa anta, you are instantly shattering the illusion of despair. You are reminding yourself that the Lord who created the cosmos from nothingness, the Lord who commands the gravitational pull of planets, the Lord who holds the breath in your lungs. That Lord is not constrained by your small, immediate, earthly problem. Your problem, however vast it seems to you, is microscopic in the face of His infinite power. The benefit of reciting this dua is the immediate infusion of sakina, tranquility, into the storm of the heart. Even if the whale's belly remains dark for a time, the certainty of the Master's presence illuminates the confinement. You are rescued from the spiritual death of hopelessness even before the external rescue manifests. Furthermore, the declaration in kuntu mina zaliman carries a tremendous hidden benefit. It shifts the perception of power. The moment you confess your own inadequacy and weakness, you open the door to receiving the infinite strength of the divine. When we insist on our own strength, we receive only the fruit of that finite strength. But when we admit our faqr, poverty, and our dhaf, weakness, we invite the inexhaustible qudra, power of Allah, to operate on our behalf. We cease fighting the battle alone and invite the commander of the universe onto the battlefield. This is why the promise is universal and timeless. وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It means, just as we saved Yunus from the belly of the whale, we will save the believer from the belly of his debt, the belly of his sickness, the belly of his grief, and the belly of his fear. The pattern of rescue remains constant because the nature of the divine responder remains constant. Understand this deeply, my students. Your trial is not meant to break you. It is meant to purify your tawheed. It is meant to strip away all false idols, the idols of comfort, the idols of financial security, the idols of human relationships, until only the one true reality remains. The darkness of the trial is merely the womb from which a purified, stronger, and more dependent servant is born. When you emerge, as Yunus emerged onto the bare shore, you may be weak and exposed, but you will be spiritually renewed, utterly convinced of the immediate, last-second power of Ya Allah. You will carry the indelible mark of one who has witnessed the impossible. One who knows that the system of cause and effect is merely a curtain that can be pulled back at any moment by the divine decree. Therefore, let us commit today, in this sacred gathering, to adopting the dua of Yunus as our spiritual lifeline, not just for the extreme moments, but for the daily struggles. Let us make it the constant whisper of our heart, confirming our reliance, purifying our intention, and confessing our flaws. Let the certainty of La ilaha illa anta be the anchor of our soul against the tempestuous waves of this world. Let us live in the anticipation of the divine response, knowing that the promise وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ is written specifically for our current impossible situation. And now, having reflected upon this profound lesson of ultimate desperation leading to ultimate rescue, let us raise our hands in supplication, turning our hearts to the one who listens to the cry from the deepest darkness, the one who commands the whale and the wave, the one who never fails his promise. O Allah, O Lord of all creation, O you who responded to Yunus in the triple darkness of the night, the sea, and the belly of the whale, we turn to you now, confessing our weakness and our manifold errors. We admit, O our Master, that we have been of the wrongdoers, in kuntu mina zalimin. We have relied on our intellect when we should have relied on your wisdom. We have relied on our wealth when we should have relied on your provision. We have relied on human support when we should have relied on your eternal strength. We seek your forgiveness for every moment of doubt, for every flicker of despair, and for every instance of attributing power to other than you. O Allah, exalted are you, far above any deficiency or injustice. Subhanaka. We accept your decree upon us, whether it brings ease or hardship, for we know that your wisdom is perfect and your plan is flawless, even when our limited minds fail to comprehend it. Remove from our hearts the disease of questioning your justice and the affliction of questioning your power. O Allah, there is no deity except you. La ilaha illa anta. We declare our complete, naked, and absolute dependence upon your oneness. If you do not rescue us, there is no rescuer. If you do not provide for us, there is no provider. If you do not heal us, there is no healer. We place our entire trust, our past, our present, and our future, into the hands of your infinite mercy. We ask you, O Lord, by the power of your most beautiful names, to respond to our hidden cries and our manifest pleas, just as you responded to your prophet Yunus. O Allah, deliver us from the darkness of debt. Deliver us from the darkness of overwhelming grief. Deliver us from the darkness of illness. And deliver us from the ultimate darkness of misguidance. Grant us the internal sakina that transcends our circumstances. Grant us the faith to believe in the last-second rescue. The faith to know that when we truly say, Ya Allah, from the core of our being, the entire universe shifts its gears to execute your command. Fulfill your universal promise upon us, O Lord, and include us among those whom you save. وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Grant us a beautiful, dignified, and purified ending, and make our greatest reliance in this life and the next upon you, O Master of the Day of Judgment. Amen. Thank you for sharing this sacred space with us today. If you felt the peace of this message, please share it with one soul who is currently in their darkness. May your Ya Allah always be answered with swift mercy. Until next time, stay in the light of Eman.